Weird Realities explores the paranormal, preternatural, and supernatural worlds that surround us. Here we delve into those topics that challenge us to think outside the limitations of realism, where we test the boundaries of imagination and are forced to think outside the confines and restrictions of what is normal. We are the creators, the writers, the artists, and the insane. Welcome to our Weird Realities.
Happy Thursday, guys. I'm sorry I'm late.
That's okay. How's everybody?
You're late?
Screeching in. Burning rubber on my way here.
Good Thursday, everybody.
Hello, all.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. SHIT. So happy it's Thursday.
Right. Hey, Tony. Tony.
Put him up.
Hey, Tony.
This coming from the guy who's retired and works from home. So
Tony's my Massachusetts buddy, Tony I. He's from Revere.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Revere.
Yeah.
Hey, Linda.
Hi, Landa.
Hi, Landa.
Hello, Landa. Excuse me.
Yeah, you can tell a true Massachusetts person by the way they pronounce names.
Yeah. Scott.
I never thought I'd find myself surrounded by massholes ever.
I'm not a masshole.
It's only 50.
Well, no. Well, almost surrounded. We're not even making an H, so we're all right.
It's not Scituate, it's Situate.
Yeah.
I thought you said it's not get you hard. I was like, what?
Yeah.
See?
Boy, starting
There's a language barrier, definitely.
Well,
One
so-
minute in.
You guys all have accents.
I wanted to give a shout out to our friend, the Manson brothers, because I heard from Chris. He got our care package, and he was so nice. He said he was wearing our swag up in Cali. So
Oh, good.
Weird Realities is now being worn around Hollywood.
Great.
Nice.
Max, Mike.
Well, I'll be rich and famous soon.
Yep.
Yeah, being rich is no big deal.
Well, it is kind of.
Hey, Max Crumb.
Max, Landa, Mike.
Mike Lewis.
Max, Mike.
Tony.
So what shows do we have tonight? Hadley, tell us what we got going on tonight.
We've got God is a Bullet. We've got Heart of Stone. And we've got Special Ops Lioness is the new series that we are watching.
Great. All right.
And who picked what?
I picked Heart of Stone.
It was your week to pick.
Yeah.
Rip it up. Do it.
Because I picked Heart of Stone because it's a CIA movie. And I figured it would go good with Special Ops Lioness. Heart of Stone is a Netflix film with Gal Gadot, which was another reason I picked it. It's an espionage film. It involves this device called the Heart, which is this super intelligent, uber sensitive cyber system that is like, light years in the future. It can predict the future events supposedly by running things through it. And the movie opens up. And it's owned by 5 people. I can't remember what they call themselves.
The charter.
It's like the charter. Thank you. I knew we began with this. That they run it. They are like heads of intelligence agencies around the world. They use it to keep everybody protected. Opening scene, Gal Gadot is a CIA officer, and she's assigned to the British MI6 as their cyber crew for an operation. The operation goes south. Things do not go as planned, and Gal Gadot comes running to the rescue you find out Gal Gadot is not just some cyber nerd who sits in her office all day and works in the computer. She is a highly trained CIA agent. And she gets yelled at by her boss because she saves the day in the opening scene, but she almost blows her cover. All the Brits think she's just that guru behind the computer. They're like telling her, no, you can't leave the van. You can't leave the van. This is for the special people. This is for the trained. And movie goes through. The next scene comes up that they're planning a special operation. The whole goal is trying to take down this woman, Kaya, she's the bad guy. She's another cyber tech guru. And she's messy with them. She's taunting and teasing him. Well, just before that operation goes down, somebody tips them off, and the house is invaded by the bad guys. And the only way Gal Gadot is going to save her people is to break her cover. Some great fight action in that scene. They break out of the house, and then this is where I'm going to end the story. You find out that somebody is a traitor in the group. And from there on in, the whole movie devolves. Not devolves, but the whole movie progresses. The person who's the traitor's got their own plans. They know Kaya works for him, and she doesn't like what he's doing, so she tries to work with Gal Gadot. It's a typical fun Netflix action movie. Completely off the wall. There's nothing about it. It's 2 hours. It's fun. It's action. It's got some humor elements. Her tech guru, her hand, Gal Gadot's handler, is the tech guru. From Army of the Dead. The Safe Cracker, yeah. And he's put in this. Yeah, he's just as an Army of Thieves and Army of the Dead. It's fun. I would watch it. It's a family movie. There's nothing in there that that a 13 or 14-year-old wouldn't enjoy. I thought it was pretty good. All right, that's not going to sound for a Netflix movie. I thought it was really pretty good. This one could have made it on the big screen, I think. So, what did you guys think?
I liked it. I thought it was great. Everything you said. We can't really delve too much into the plot because it's brand new, so we don't want to wreck it for anybody.
Right.
But I will say my favorite scene, the fight scenes, like you said, Scott. The fight scenes are great. They have a fight scene that's on sort of a lighter than aircraft, which is pretty cool.
Yes.
Almost like a blimp. It's a great scene. But my favorite scene, it's not even really a scene. It's an idea, and it's at the very beginning when they're in this giant. I think it was in Italy, wasn't it? In the Italian Alps, they're in this big chalet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something that uber wealthy people would have, and what they're doing is they're betting on an operation, on a Navy SEAL operation that's happening right then. So the bad guy, who is a woman, she has hacked into, whoever's running this operation, the Pentagon, the CIA, whoever's running it, and the people in there are betting on which guys are going to die. And I was like, holy crap, what a great idea. What a fantastic idea for a story. And now I can't do it because somebody else thought of it first. So I was a little pissy. But that was my favorite part of the whole movie, just that idea. But this is a really fast-paced TV show. I mean, TV movie. It's lightning fast. There's not a lot of breaks in the action. It's a mix of John Wick and James Bond. And they have Wonder Woman to boot. So it was definitely James Bond-esque with all the, 1 minute they're skiing down a mountain, and the next minute they're jumping out of planes, and then they're fighting in the streets of whatever city they're in. So it's worth the watch. This is not one you want to miss. It's not a bank breaker. It's not the best movie you're going to see, but if you're in the mood for a little action flick, this is that, and I recommend it.
Kathleen?
The first couple of minutes of this movie, I thought, ugh. Mm-hmm. And then it heated up. And when it did, Oh, it was a great fun ride. I enjoyed it. I'm not a huge Gal Gadot fan. I just kind of find her stiff, but I found that she did really well in this movie, and I really liked it.
It's funny because Scott said he found himself stiff too.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I bet he did. I was thinking, but she didn't have her bustier on, so
I
No, but at
agree.
the end, though, she wore that tight outfit at the very end. So
Well, I agree with you, Hadley, on this. And Tony, I think Tony I said something about it. That the parachute scene kind of took me out. I was like, "Ugh," you know, but then it got better, and the twist of the bad guy, that was cool, and you're like, oh, when the
'cause
bad guy comes out and then, what happens and you're
That's what
just,
he does. Yeah.
yeah,
they had such good chemistry.
yeah,
I was thinking, oh, they're going to be, and then it was like, oh no, that's not.
yeah. And it's got some good actors in it. Matthias Rigahofa, I guess he's really big in Germany.
He's funny.
Yeah. I mean,
And Jamie Dornan, and he was the 50 Shades of Grey dude.
yes,
and
He was also in Jen's favorite, Barb and Star Du Del Mar, which if you haven't seen that,
Nope.
he's
I have
hilarious
not.
in it.
That sounds like a movie I'd watch, on the internet.
well, he's also in that HBO series, The Tourist. Have you seen that?
Nope.
That's a trippy. Watch it, The Tourist. It's pretty good, and I think all the episodes are streaming now. But that's a good series.
And they had some good writers for it. I mean, one of them was Alison Schroeder, who did Frozen 2, Christopher Robin, Hidden Figures, which I think is a brilliant movie.
Yeah, it's a great flick.
And the other, Greg Rucka, he's done a lot of TV series, a lot of the Star Wars stuff. So,
No, this is good. This is if you like Six Underground, like Ryan Reynolds movie, that one was it Red Notice?
Yeah.
With her and Ryan Reynolds and The Rock. It's like that.
Yeah.
It's just a fun time. You watch it, it's fun. It's got some parts that make you go, oh man. There's one part in it that made me go, that sucks.
Yeah.
But it's worth a watch. It's a fun movie. It looks like they'll probably make another one, hopefully. Of course, I've been waiting for another Six Underground to come out. And we haven't done that.
Same. I thought that would come out, and then a second movie for Red Notice. I
Yeah.
think I could do that too.
Yeah, but no, this was a fun movie. Good pick, Scott.
Good pick, Scott.
thank you for a change.
Yeah.
So, how do we rate it?
I'll give it a 4. I'll give it a solid 4. I enjoyed it. I recommend it. Definitely want to sit. It's just a popcorn flick. Sit down and watch it with popcorn and a beer, and you'll be happy.
I'll give it a 4.75 because it was fun. The acting was good. I mean, you really enjoyed the actors, whether they were good or bad. And it succeeded in what it wanted to be. Fun 2-hour movie that didn't cause you to think and like, oh, the world is falling apart. So
I'll give it a solid 4.
okay.
I agree. I'll give it a solid 4 too. It's just a fun movie. I might watch it again down the road. But that twist, the twist is gone.
Yeah, that's true.
That was a big part of it, I think. But it was a good pick, Scott.
Thank you.
Did any of it ring true with your CIA experience?
Not at all whatsoever.
You didn't do the thing.
The fight scene in the house, when the bad guys raid the place. I'm just thinking to myself, yeah, that's what we all thought we were like. But and having the guy, the part that I got the biggest kick out of because it was so bloody stupid was the Matthias character just being able to say, okay, guy's coming in the door, he's got a 357 with 8 rounds, and the guy coming in through the back, he's a marshal. No, we don't know that crap.
Well, yeah, but that's what the heart was. He knew that because of the heart, and that's why they didn't want to let it get into enemy hands because that
Now, that's
computer
true.
program was so advanced.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, yeah, it was like that. I would have stayed. I wouldn't have retired.
So can I tell y'all what I thought was going to happen?
Sure.
Sure.
Since this didn't happen, it's really not a spoiler. So the guy with the cat, I thought he
Yes.
was going to get obsessed with her, and she was going to have. I mean, like it was going to be problematic when he started showing her the dollhouse. I was like, oh,
Oh, yeah.
he's going to be crazy, and then it's going to end up, and it totally surprised me with what happened. So
Yeah. Yeah, no, that guy right there, his name's Paul Reddy. You ever seen the miniseries The Terror, where they're stuck in the
Yeah.
ice?
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
played the doctor. He played the
I
doctor.
thought he looked familiar.
Oh,
He played the doctor in that.
Yeah.
okay.
Good series. If you haven't seen it, see The Terror. The first
Yeah.
season's the best.
Yes.
But
And Alan joined us.
Alan
Hey,
Lassiter,
Alan.
that
Hi,
is.
Alan.
We've got
that's
Alan
shout out to
Campbell.
Blaine and Tommy.
So
Hey, Blaine and
Alan.
Tommy.
Well, shall we move to Hadley's movie?
It's not Hadley's movie. It was a new release.
Oh.
And the premise of the premise of it looked good. Well, I mean, if we want to go that way, all the new releases are mine. But I thought this looked like a good movie.
God is a Bullet. You want to give us the synopsis?
Yeah, give us the lowdown.
Okay, well, all right. So, basically, let me see where I want to start. This movie is got Jamie Foxx in it. It's got Jamie Lannister in it. It's got some high hitting names here, and it takes place. Jamie Lannister. What is his name?
Nicholas
Nikolai. Is it Nicholas or Nikolai?
Nikolai.
Nikolai Coster-Waldau. Anyway, he's a kind of a desk jockey sheriff deputy, and he is divorced. His daughter and him are very close. She lives with the mom. The mom lives in this upscale neighborhood with her new husband, I'm guessing, maybe boyfriend, not really sure, and living the good life. And on Christmas Eve, everything seems like it's going to be okay. Okay, let me rewind and say, at the beginning of this movie, there is a young girl, probably 11 to 12 years old, who is snatched from a parking lot while her mom's going back in the store to pick something up. And she is snatched by the stereotypical van with some creepy dudes with tattoos in it. It's no offense to creepy dudes with tattoos, because it's just a stereotype. Anyway, so fast forward to this. These people break into the ex-wife's house. It's a triggering scene there. There's some stuff that happens. It's kind of scary. And the daughter's snatched. And the next morning, he's looking for the daughter because she's supposed to come to church and she's not there. So there's this whole religious overtone here, is that he is a very faithful and devout Christian. And then you have him spiraling into this dark, seedy underworld trying to get his daughter back. And the daughter has been kidnapped by this satanic cult. And there's some really bad dudes. There's human trafficking involved. It turns out it is the same cult that kidnapped the girl at the beginning of the movie. Well, a young woman in a shelter contacts him. And she says that, I know what happened because these are the same people who took me. And it turns out this is the girl who was snatched all those years before. And she is, I guess, some part of her wants to help. I mean, I'm not sure what it is at first, because a lot of plot holes and almost like things that were just hit the cutting room floor.
Yeah.
And that was how I felt. I don't think this was a bad movie. There was some really poignant and good things to it, but there was so much that just seemed to be cut out, and I'm not really sure why. So whoever did that needs to be fired. But anyways, the movie goes on. I'm not going to get into all the details because it is a new movie. It is very triggering in a lot of ways for a lot of people. I'm just going to go ahead and say, if you don't like snakes, don't watch it. If you don't want to see a rape scene, don't watch it. If you don't want to see this, that, it's a very dark subject matter. And it's all about him wrestling with his faith as he tries to find his daughter and this young woman who's helping him. And I guess it's kind of like her path to redemption, because and y'all know the kind of work I do in my day job is, this is a typical case of what you see happen to women who've been trafficked. Is they get into that lifestyle, they get that Stockholm syndrome. The next thing you know, people think they're, just as horrible as the people who took them. And it's just because they've just kind of done what they have to do to survive. And so there was a lot of this that I think I probably connected with on a level I don't think my three companions did.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me answer Tony real quick. No, it was a Netflix movie. He was making Jamie Foxx was making when he had his medical emergency.
He was an executive producer on this show.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, again, like I said, and let me just sum this up real quick. When I was looking for movies, this is a movie that had occult overtones. It had a revenge story. I know I love a good revenge story. And it had some really good actors. I was interested to see what was going to happen. And I kind of feel like the occult stuff, they did not play it up. It was gritty. It wasn't woo. There was no woo involved in this. It was just some really bad, evil people, which is even scarier to me than the woo. But yeah, these are some bad dudes. So I know y'all didn't like this movie. Let me just say this. So, but that's it for me.
Now we're gonna sound like dicks. The beginning, to me, that was kind of frightening when they kidnapped that girl. The way it went about, in broad daylight, and these people just looked, creepy. And I thought that scene was pretty frightening. And it's like this movie was what? How long was it? Almost 2.5 hours long.
It was long. It was a long, dark, unhappy movie.
I think it was just over 2 hours. Yeah.
Yeah. So it probably would have been about 3 hours long. I'm sure they cut it down because there's some characters in it that you didn't see their motivation, that their motivation should have been seen. And like that part at the end in his house, when all those people are in his house, and obviously they're law enforcement people, but it doesn't explain what's going on. The acting was good in this. Jamie Foxx was outstanding in it. And that makeup that they did on him, with the pigmentation and all that, that was great. And
they Forrest Gumped his arm too.
Yeah, that was cool. That was cool. There were parts in it that were good. Some of the conversations between the two were pretty interesting. But the chemistry that they shaped it to, instead of where it looked like it was natural, that was it was like,
it was kind of icky.
Yeah, it was. That, and that I think that girl's name's Micah Monroe. She was great. And you look like you could just smell her, from that screen. She did great. And the way she would look, she did a great job. And the dude that played the cult leader, he had moments where he was really good, and then moments where it's kind of like, nah. But my favorite character was Jonathan Tucker, the guy that owned the bar, the screamer, the guy that would scream. Yeah, they would point the gun at him, and he'd be like, "Ah, ah, ah." I love that guy. That was just so over the top outrageous. But yeah, there could have been a good movie here, and I think a lot of it was left on they cut the wrong parts. I honestly think they cut the wrong parts.
And it still was way too long. I mean,
Yeah.
what did they cut?
Well, they
But I
cut
mean, like there's stuff that I know I picked up on that I don't know that y'all did. Like,
the sheriff, the motivation of the sheriff.
yeah,
They cut that, and because you're just like, oh, whatever. But there was more to the sheriff's character than led on.
the blue-haired kid,
Yeah.
he was trafficked too, and it didn't go into that story at
Right.
all. But I mean, it didn't show that it was just her. I mean, it was, you know, it was deeper than the surface, which is what we saw.
And the girl they grabbed, the girl that ended up in the motel near the end, her character was like all over the place.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, what? And then who washes a car like that? Who washes their truck like that?
Nobody.
That got me. That bugged me the most near the end when he's washing his truck. It's like, anyway.
Well,
There could have been a good
say
movie
this? Excuse me, I'm trying not to cuss. What did they inject that rattlesnake with?
Don't wreck it. I don't know.
Yeah. So that's my 2 cents. You guys?
Yeah, man. I kind of agree with you guys that they cut out the wrong pieces. There was a lot of dialogue in this between the two main characters, Nikolai and Micah. Both of whom are pretty good actors. But the dialogue was just really slow, and it went down this avenue that you were like, what? And you just kind of, it didn't fit the story that this story was trying to tell.
Right.
And there's a couple of times where they're laying in bed. It's not a sexual thing. They're just laying in the same bed talking. And it was weird. It was just weird. One of them was after he had been, let's just say, assaulted. I don't want to tell you what happens to him, even though that was one of the cooler parts of the show. Their dynamic was terrible.
Yeah.
And it's, which is again weird to me because they're both two great actors. This didn't have a lot of greatness to it as far as I'm concerned. This should have been a movie about human trafficking, and it was kind of a movie about a revenge hunt. Because there was no message. There should have been some kind of message here, and it was just lost in all the bullshit, really. The bad guys were great. They were fantastic. They're these covered in tattoos, like all over the place, facial too, up on their neck, on their hands and stuff. They were Satanists, or in that direction. They were anti-God, and that
Left-hand path. I mean,
yeah,
they're supposed to be spooky.
Yeah, I don't really know what that is, but it was spooky, and that was the one thing that came across was the spookiness of the bad guys. It wasn't just guys; it was a couple of women too. But I cannot stand when people make terrible decisions in film. I understand that has to happen because people make terrible decisions in life. But there were a few decisions in this movie that were just stupid. And you wouldn't do it if you're trying to save your daughter or if you're trying to save this guy that you just met, his daughter. Yeah. And it was just, it kind of made me a little sad because this was a movie that I thought was going to be really, really good. And 5 minutes in, and I'm like, yeah, this has potential. And 6 minutes in, I'm like, nope, this is terrible. Yeah. And I just couldn't get into it. I wanted to, but the message was lost. The dialogue was bad. Acting was okay. Like you guys said, Jamie Foxx did really well, and his makeup was phenomenal. But he wasn't in it that much.
No,
he had it was I wouldn't say a bit part, but it was a minor role, or it was a non-major role. How does that sound? And had they made that character like this big super uber tough guy that wanted to help and would do anything, and typical Jamie Foxx stuff, it would have been better. But they screwed the pooch on that one too.
Well, the tattoos, when they tattooed Nicholas, did all those tattoos on his body in 3 hours.
You can't do that.
And he never used them.
Yeah.
He was using them to infiltrate the gang, right? And the cult or whatever. And he never used it. There's no point in that.
Okay, first off, I have to say, Blaine, tattoos don't make bad guys. Not even on this podcast. I've got tattoos, but the tattoos were supposed to tell a story, and Jamie Foxx alludes to that. He says something about, that, and I don't remember the exact word, but it was kind of like, the what is going to come out, like your story comes out on your skin. And and that was the whole thing with, because if you looked at her tattoos weren't, no, David Hasselhoff could not save this.
He could not.
um but there was a story there about the tattoos, and they should have gone into that, but the only thing we saw was like the face tattoo thing.
Yeah, they just left it. That was another avenue
Yeah.
that they just closed down.
Well, and I guess maybe the film was too long. And again, whoever cut this movie needs to be fired, because they did a horrible job. And I think I might have mentioned this to Rich the other day, that it just really was the 1 minute her character was like this broken, crying mess, and the next minute she's an uber badass with a shotgun.
Right.
And there was stuff that was left out that was pertinent to telling her story. And it went from being a story about him rescuing his daughter to a story about her going for revenge. And the segue was never really covered. But
Right.
I will say, hello, shotgun to the face. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was.
I'll bring that up. There is, if you guys like shotgun gore, this is a film for you, because there's a lot of it. I mean, there's a lot of bullets flying, but it was the shotguns that were the devastating. His legs gone, arms gone, goodbye face and jaw, that type of thing.
I liked it when the guy hit the wall.
Yeah, yep, that was pretty nasty too.
But this is directed by Nick Cassavetes, who did The Notebook and Alpha Dog and John Q. So he had some good movies, but this is just horrible,
Well, and it wasn't even his directing that was bad. Again, it was whoever cut the movie. They cut out pertinent parts and pieced together the wrong parts. But there were some really good scenes. Like, I liked the scene when she was forced to shoot up. And it shows to me, and not that I have that much experience with drugs, but the confusion of someone in this almost semi-euphoric state being forced to make a decision they don't want to make and trying to work their way around it. And she went from, 1 minute she would just be, rolling on the floor, to the next minute she's, trying to shoot someone. And it was, to me, it was that chaotic uncertainty and confusion that really she captured that really well. I thought it was almost like a dreamlike state. Anyway, I thought that was well done.
Well, there were some things in here that were well done. It just the overall thing didn't work. It just didn't work. And this editor did 12 Dogs of Christmas is one of the movies the editor did. So,
is it a female? Because
yeah.
Well, I was going to say, I wonder why.
I agree with everything you said. It's disjointed. I will, when the director's cut comes out, I'll watch it just to see how good it is. But they so downplayed his daughter who was kidnapped. She almost was irrelevant in the movie.
Yeah.
And I thought the opening scene when they kidnapped the sheriff's daughter was terrifying, because she wasn't left in the car. She's standing in front of the door of the store waiting for her mother, who went back in to get something.
That was Case. That was Case.
And that was the girl.
Oh, that was
Case.
But still, they picked up, they throw her a bit. Nobody stopped. Nobody intervened.
Yeah.
The mother comes out and her daughter's gone. It was scary. But other than that, it was very disjointed. There was most of the, I don't want to say banter, but most of the arguing between them was her disbelief in God and his belief in God. Yeah, when the action started, it was good, and it was very bloody. Very. And one thing she does to the guy with the knife from behind was like, okay, she's got some anger issues. I thought the criminals. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. I thought the guys and the girl who played the bad guys were brilliant. I mean, they were over the top. No, they were not over the top, but I believe they were believable as those type of people. You know, and I mean, when we say tattoos, we're talking like from fake all the way, everything was covered. This girl had her hair, huh?
I was gonna say these tattoos were like homemade tattoos. They weren't like from a shop.
Yeah, there were no.
These were like jailhouse tattoos. They were rough.
It was all black, upside down crosses, pentagrams, that type of thing. Eagles
on your face. I mean, they were all over their face, and that's you know.
And then, like the scene, we were talking about scenes that didn't make sense. He gets all the tattoos. He goes with her in the bar. They talk. Something was said he doesn't like, and he walks out. It's like, you know, doesn't he give her shit about his stuff? Then it's like, okay, this fight scene is good. This revenge scene at the end is good. It's redeeming. And then it ends 15 minutes before the movie ends. Go on with 15 minutes of other stuff. It's like, no, it's over. End it now. But it lost me. Except for that one fight scene out in the desert. This movie bored the hell out of me.
Well, and the wounds.
I don't know. It had some terrifying parts in it to me.
I think it had terrifying aspects, but I don't think they pulled it off to make it scary. The abduction is terrifying, but and the way they did it was really scary. That I'll give you, but the rest of it should have been scary too. And I was just like, I mean, it wasn't. But you're right. They were aiming for scary, and it's not like you said, Hadley. It's not a woo thing. It was this could really happen. You know,
it's a gritty underworld. These people are out there.
Yeah, exactly. And it was just.
But I mean, the thing that scared me was that house, that dungeon, that toilet in the middle of the room with chains. That was terrifying. You know, I don't want to see that.
Scary aspect.
Well, then don't come by for a visit.
Yeah.
Okay. But you know what I mean? I mean, it was, you know, that the reality of, and again, this is what I do for a living. So I know this happens.
You chain people to toilets?
Well, no, I don't. But I mean, I know that when they say that, you know, that not all the kids, you know, make it out of here. She was lucky, and look at what torture she went through. You know,
well, like Tina said, it made her feel like the world is evil. You know, there's a lot of evil out there.
It was,
but it didn't convey it as well as it could have. No. You know, I think it fell down on parts of that. There was, you know, like the abduction at the beginning. That was, you know, to me that was kind of scary. You know. I wasn't scared, but
I'm sure for all three of y'all, for being fathers, I'm sure it's terrifying what happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's like wow, you know, and nobody helped, and that happens. Huh?
I said that's how fast it is.
Yeah,
you went back in to get whatever. She was gone a minute, and that kid she never saw her again.
Yeah. And then you had the over the top stuff like the wounds. They get wounded. And, you know, he's sealing up that wound and stuff, you know, staple. Yeah, okay, but then he's fine.
Yeah.
You know, somebody gets burned, you know, and they're fine. You just see their face, half of it's burned later on, but they're okay. You know, they're like, you know, and you know, burns are horrible.
Yeah,
especially
you don't get a flamethrower and be okay.
Yeah, yeah. So this could have been really good, but it just kind of.
Well, the biggest buy-in problem that I had was the alluded romantic thing between them.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
she goes back to him at the end, and I don't need that. That would not. I mean, this very Christian man who just lost his daughter, and this girl who is looking for a parent figure. I mean, how unhealthy is that?
Yeah.
You know, I
It
mean,
was weird. It was creepy.
it was icky. I didn't like it at all.
Yeah. We're watching it. We're like, no, don't. And it's like,
Yeah, but that's. I
yeah.
mean, again, this is just whoever was editing this. That was not necessary.
And I think there's all of you, know probably some lazy writing in that too. Very
Yeah.
creepy. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and I'll say this that I had seen where this movie was based on a true story. So I was like, oh man, okay. So I went into watching it and I was like, okay, maybe that's why it's weird. Maybe that's why it's got all these holes in it. And then I found out that the reality of it was that the author of the books, this is based on a book, had been in Thailand, and that the God is a bullet phrase is something that he saw someone write on a wall in Thailand in a bar. So that's where he got that from.
Yeah.
And everything else was like research that he'd done into cults. And that's why it's based on a true story. And I thought, well, that's really stupid.
Yeah, it's
So
misleading.
that kind of took it for me. I still want to read the book just because I feel like I want to know more about what happened. But yeah, it was disappointing. I did enjoy it, but it was disappointing because I feel like it could have been better.
It kept you watching because you wanted to know what was going on.
Well, I kept thinking the devil was going to make a play for something. You know,
I would have turned it off if we were going to do it for the show.
Well,
To me, it was that bad.
Hallie said she kept thinking the devil's going to show up. Okay, there's that one scene between two characters where one character's got a gun on the other one, and the wind starts blowing, and so it's like they tried to do something there, but it just didn't make sense. Do you not see what I'm talking about?
I watch all the movies on the screen beside, and this movie I didn't even realize that was Jamie Foxx. Yeah. I mean, the makeup and all that was so good, but when you guys are saying Jamie Foxx, I'm like, well, who was he in? And then when you mentioned his character, it was like, oh, I was so disinterested by that point.
I think this film, the best parts of it, or anything that tied anything together, was left on the cutting room floor, and that's what turned in.
I agree. So Hadley, you have anything to add?
I'm going to give it a 3.75 just because for a few things. 1, rattlesnake. 2, shotguns. And 3, like I said, the subject matter to me it was pretty accurate to me. When you're talking about how a trafficking victim would behave afterwards, I felt like that was a good depiction.
It was. Scott?
2. And it only gets that high because that fight's in the desert. Awesome.
It was kind of Mad Max, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll give it a 1.5. So the fight scene in the desert, it did have good aspects. But one of the things that happened is one of the bad guys has a flamethrower and he shoots it at Nikolai Coster-Waldau, and he hits him and he's on fire, and he stops, drops, rolls, and then he's like, no problem, I'm good.
He paid attention.
That's just a no for me. That you just can't do that. And there's something else with the snake that happens that is also a no. That just wouldn't happen. So that those things really bothered me, but it was just too slow. It needed to be a little. There were no tie-ins, and that's what I said before. The best parts of this film were left on the cutting room floor, so it's getting a 1.5, and that's a gift.
The setting was surreal too. Mexico, Southern California. Where are you? Where are we at in this? I'm gonna give it a 2. I won't watch this again. If there's a director's cut, maybe just so I can see if there was something there. But nah, I give it 2.
Yeah, I'm not going to watch it again, but I do want to read the book.
Well, let us know.
I will. I will let you know where the holes are filled. So, next up,
That's what she did.
Special Ops Lioness. What did y'all think?
This is another Ty Sheridan
Yeah.
series. I have not watched a series of his that I have not enjoyed. Not enjoyed. Does that make sense? I'm a writer, folks.
You are there. Yeah.
I've enjoyed everything he's put out so far. Not movie wise, but series wise, he's great.
What movies has he done before? Besides, what is it?
Hell or High Water. I didn't like that one. I like it was okay, but just
Did we watch that?
no, we haven't seen that one. That came out Chris Pine.
I think we did.
Did we watch that one?
Yeah, I think we did.
What's
Okay.
it about?
Jeff Bridges is a cop, and Chris Pine and
Oh yeah, I didn't know we
Late
did
actor.
that. That was kind of a.
I can't, but he's one of the bad guys in 30 Days a Night. I
It's
can't remember.
him,
his
and
name.
it's got the guy that's.
Foster, Ben Foster.
Ben
Yeah,
Foster.
I was gonna say 28 days later. No, was it 28? No,
No, it was
20 Days a Night.
30 Days a Night. Yeah.
30 I got my numbers all messed up.
I don't
Anyway,
remember that movie at all.
I think that's a decent flick. I don't love it, but I think it's pretty good.
But what did you think about this?
Me? Am I up?
Yes, go now.
I think this is an excellent show. Sheridan has done shows like Tombstone, which I haven't seen, and I don't want to hear you crap on it. I'm gonna see it eventually. It's just I'm waiting for it to end because it's like 50 episodes on it, so that's gonna take a minute. Tulsa King, Tulsa King. That's Taylor Sheridan. Longmire, which I'm up to like the 3rd episode of season 5 right now. It's fantastic.
But that's not Taylor Sheridan. Longmire's not Taylor Sheridan.
Don't you tell me that.
It's not. It's
not.
It's
Where
not.
did you even get that from?
All right. Well, you know what? Longmire's still good. So
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So I do like Taylor Sheridan. He wrote 1893.
Yeah. 1883. Yeah.
Which I haven't seen. So I like this guy. Lioness is really good. It's about a special ops group team, and it starts off with they're in. Was it Pakistan or was it Iraq? I can't remember. Where they were. Was it Syria? It is Syria, right? Yeah. And Zoe Saldana is the head of this team, and the team is supposed to protect an asset. Who the job of the asset is to befriend a female person of the family of a really bad guy, get to know them, then get close to the bad guy, and then they kill the bad guy. And she gets found out because she has a tattoo on her side of a cross. And it just goes bad. And it moves on from there. So now they need a new asset for a new attack. They find the asset. She's a pretty good actress. She's been in a couple of things that I've seen before. I can't remember who she is. But tall, thin, dark hair, looks a little bit Middle Eastern. She grew up in the hood, very smart. Very athletic. She ends up getting in the Marines. Total badass. She's in like the top 0.5% of everything for everyone. She gets recruited by Zoe Saldana and the team, but she's still a newbie. So it's kind of about that relationship and how that moves forward. And then things just it turns way up, and this team does something they're not supposed to do on American soil.
Sicario 2 style.
Yeah, exactly. It gets filmed by Border Patrol, and they have their faces, so they have to make amends by doing something else on American soil, and it's escalating, and you can see that there's a lot of politics to it, and the politics are done really well. Mm-hmm. Nicole Kidman is in it. She is one of the the head bosses. She's not a field operative anymore. She runs the field operatives. But one of my favorite actors in the world is Michael Kelly.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I love Michael Kelly.
Michael Kelly.
And
He's getting typecast.
Yeah, he's this guy in every film, in every movie. He's like the deputy director of the CIA, and so he's running Nicole Kidman, and they all have to report to him, and he brooks no bullshit at all. And he, like I said, he's kind of a pencil pusher, but at some point he was a badass, and he's not someone you want to cross because he could bury you in a hole someplace and nobody would ever find you.
Yeah.
So
he was in the Dawn of the Dead remake.
Yeah, that's the first thing I remember. CJ.
Yeah.
The first thing I remember him in was Dawn of the Dead.
Oh,
He was a mall cop that went out
Yeah.
with a bang, man.
Yes.
He was in House of Cards, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's in Jack Ryan.
Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. This latest season of Jack Ryan, last two seasons. He played Mike
November.
Mike November, yeah. So
great.
This got a good pedigree. I mean, Tyler Sheridan, he uses a lot of the same people. He's got the special ops team. I love their camaraderie and their character. It's a neat aesthetic there.
Well, I told you, it had me hooked in 3 minutes into the first episode.
It was good. It was good. I was like, wow, this is
the guy that plays Two Cups. I haven't seen who he is, but he's in what do you call it?
Mayor of Kingston.
And he's in Mayor of Kingstown, which is another. He's the cop, the
head guard,
the head security guard in the prison. He gets killed, doesn't he? In Tulsa? Yeah, he does. Yeah. Oh, not Tulsa King, the other one. This show is great. I'm sorry, I jumped over you. Go ahead, Alan. You take it off.
Oh, I was going to ask Scott. Scott, this is a CIA story.
I enjoyed it, but as a series, it's good. It's fun, a lot of action to it. The dynamic between Zoe and the girl, and they do a great background with the newbie. Her story, how she got to the Marines, when she got to the Marines, how she wound up with the Special Forces. I agree with Zoe's decision on what to do with the king, because when I was there, I remember we watched a video once of this poor Islamic girl who went to a library in Afghanistan. She went to the library to get a book and to be smart. And what they did to her in that video was one of the most disgusting things we've ever seen. But no bloody way that we would run that any special ops CIA would run that stupid operation in the United States. That to me was just one of those. We always used to call it, when we watch CIA movies, the guffaw moment. If you laugh out loud, it's no good. You've lost our interest. And what was the other scene? Oh, and when they are, and I don't want to go into details, when they're testing the newbie, no fucking way would they do something like that. Now, maybe some of the deepest, darkest corners, but that did not ring true to me at all. Well, now, I only watched the first 3 because I thought we were watching the next 2 next week. So if I'm wrong, but that's all I saw up to. But it's good. Somewhat realistic, somewhat, the writers took some really good advantages, but it was for the sake of the plot. So, and yes, he's the guy, this deputy director of CIA is a dick. And I'll tell you, there were quite a few of them.
Is that why you were in there? Because there was a lot of dicks?
Oh, yeah.
Well, he was one of those guys that took care of all the torture and stuff. That's what got there. He was in that little room with the waterboarding and the electricity.
Well, I want to say they're not filming this at Fort Bragg. That's not Fort Bragg.
It's Fort Liberty now, isn't it? It's not Fort Bragg anymore, is it?
Yes, because Bragg is the name of a Civil War general from the Confederacy, and therefore it is no longer.
They changed it?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
because Fort Bragg was named after a Confederate general in the Civil War, and that offended people.
So all that history, all those soldiers, those special op guys that went through there and everything, that just didn't matter. Just changed
Airborne.
Fort
All those
Liberty.
airborne guys. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, that's not that that place formerly known as Fort Bragg, because I was like, there are no mountains at Fort Bragg. So
Yeah.
I
Well, what'd you-
enjoyed it. I'm glad that y'all liked it as much as I did.
It's good. I
Morgan
generally-
Freeman's in it, so
yeah,
I'm excited to see him. In
Which
what role he's
episode
gonna
is he
play.
in?
he's farther down the road.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh,
I
okay,
haven't
all right.
seen
I
him
was
yet,
going to
but
say,
I
how
saw
did
him.
I miss Morgan Freeman?
But I watched all 5 episodes that have been released, and I'm eagerly awaiting 6.
Yeah, that's where we're at too.
Okay.
We
The
catch
guy
up.
that plays Errol, who is Nicole Kidman's husband, I've never seen him in anything where he wasn't a bad guy.
You right? Right?
Doesn't seem like a bad guy in this yet, but he seems to be like nonchalantly not giving a shit about people dying.
Martin
so that he can make
Donovan.
money. What was his name?
Martin Donovan.
There you
He
go.
always plays that.
Always plays like a sniveling bad guy, and
Yeah.
he's not there yet. But I would not trust him as far as I could throw him in this show.
Yeah, that's one thing we just had a kind of a hard time with. I guess she's the lioness, not Zoe, but the other gal, is that she didn't look like athletic enough. You know, she's thin, but she's got no muscle. The sniper's got more muscle than she
Oh, yeah,
does.
she's ripped.
Yeah.
Well,
So that was kinda-
she's like a, wiry person.
Yeah. I mean, it's, it is what it is. That sniper was on, she used to be one of the co-hosts on, what's that show where you do these crazy contests, you fall in the water and all that?
American Ninja.
No, American Ninja, the other one.
Oh, the funny one?
Yeah.
Oh, you had to jump across the ball at the beginning.
Yeah. It's a take on the Japanese show.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Long after American Gladiators, I can't remember what it was.
And that movie Splinter. If you've ever seen that horror movie Splinter, you should check it out.
That's the one that takes out
Wipeout.
place in a gas station?
Yes.
Oh,
He's
okay. Yeah.
the lead in it. So she obviously modified for that role, for this role. And that's what they should have done with the Lioness. But that's just my little nitpicking. Because this is a good show. I dig it. Wipeout, thanks.
I had buy-in and I recommend it. I'm really excited to see what Taylor Sheridan's going to come up with next, because he is knocking it out of the park. None of the shows that he's doing are duplication of efforts. I mean, they're all standalone, solid shows.
Yeah, he should do Longmire.
Well, you've got Tulsa King, which is, mafioso. And you've got Mayor of Kingstown, which is, prison guards and politics. And then you've got Yellowstone and the empire around it.
Yeah.
So,
they're going to really change that up, I guess, in the near future. So
He did Wind River.
Wind River.
That was another film that he did, and that's great.
That's one of my favorite movies.
That's a good movie. He's just nailed it. He was in Sons of Anarchy. He played one of the sheriffs, and he got treated so bad that he thought, I'm never going to be treated this way again. And this is what started him on his role of creating his own shows and stuff, because he just didn't want to be a number. Yeah, I guess they treat him really, really crappy on Son of Anarchy's cast.
That's too bad.
Yeah. So
Alexa, how much is Taylor Sheridan worth?
Taylor Sheridan is worth an estimated $70 million US.
70 million. Not terrible.
Oh, life is rough for the Sheridan.
He bought that 4-6's ranch that they're going to be doing that show on. Yeah, he owns it, it's huge.
Well, and he knows how to ride.
$70 million. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's him, and I'm going to ruin this for Rich, but
No.
I'm going to do it. It's going to be done. But he does all the horse riding and all in Yellowstone.
Yeah, he plays a horse guy that sells them and trainer and all that stuff, right?
Like
Yeah.
a high dollar horse show guy.
Yeah.
Desperately trying to figure out how that ruins anything. Can't think of it. But okay, moving on.
Well, it just when you see it, you go, oh, that's Taylor Sheridan.
Yeah, but I mean, he really is a horse dude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
Anyway.
but yeah, no, this show's great.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Watch this show. Lioness. Special Ops Lioness.
Yeah.
All right, kids. Well, I might be back in time to be on next week. I might not. So y'all will have to pick the movies early so I can watch them this weekend because I'm going out of town next week.
Oh, awesome.
His shoes are awesome.
Those horses that he picks on Yellowstone are awesome. That's some high dollar horse flesh.
Did you see the ones he picked on Longmire? Awesome.
There's no comparison.
Stucci.
Go on, finger Max.
All right, kids.
All right,
well, that's going to wrap it up for tonight. What y'all got going on in the meantime? Scott Baker, I know. Hey, Tina.
I got a special guest star.
Me, nothing. I'm working on the next zombie book. Tuesday, the first techno thriller, The Deadliest Breed of Assassins, hit. It's available Kindle Unlimited, and in paperback. Pick it up, read it, and let me know what you guys think of my first time getting away from horror.
Awesome. I haven't written anything in weeks. So, Alan?
I just finished short story, and I'm gonna have to start working on a full length now. That's what she said. But anyway,
that's what he said too.
Yeah.
Next time, Mike, I'm not going to be Scadley. I'm going to be hot.
What about you, Hadley? What are you working on?
I am finishing up my anthology. So,
Cool.
my book or my story for the anthology. So,
and Max
hopefully.
asked us how the anthology's going.
I have not finished yet, Max.
I have stories from Max Crump, Stephen Landry, Alan Gamboa, Scott Baker, myself, J.B. Havens, David Muga. Who else are we missing? I don't know, but
Joe, Sylvester, and I are still working on ours.
There's those.
I think Bethany's working on hers.
Yep, Bethany's got one coming. So we've got quite a few. I got a request by Randy Loeb. He said I want to make one, and there was another guy who contacted me on Facebook asking about it. I don't know who he is. He's not a friend of mine on Facebook. I can't remember his name, but he seemed to be interested, and I won't turn him away. If he puts in a good story, that's fine.
Yeah, Randy hit me up, and I was like, well, get a hold of Rich, because he can write, so he's always wanted to put a story together. So
good.
Well,
figure that
last
out.
I heard, Tully was writing one,
Okay.
and it was really pretty good.
Good.
But then I don't know what happened, and we had asked Mr. Hilton Ruiz to submit something, but I think Rich might have to reach out to him and encourage him to.
I need his contact information. I will do that.
Cool.
Okay, I am totally jealous. This is something I never thought I'd say. I'm jealous of Ashhole right now. I love Wesley Myers.
He's gonna be in the front row. I hear he's gonna throw his shirt off and everything.
He doesn't wear shirts anyway, so.
Mike Lewis, my dogs they were so bad today. They have tired themselves out and they're sleeping. So that's where William and Peru are.
I finally found the way to shut him up. Pig ears. Give him a big pig right before we go on. Right now, he's sitting under the desk, sound asleep. So.
Ironically, that's how you shut me up too. Those things are crunchy and delicious.
Yeah, I know what to get you for Christmas.
Yeah.
All right,
let's
kids.
go.
Well, tomorrow night on Weird Awakenings, Morgana, Tully, Cecil, and I think that's it. I think Steven and I are off tomorrow night. They're going to be talking about Antarctica. So
Ooh.
if you're interested, tune in.
Ooh.
They will be going
What
live
time?
at 7 p.m. Central, and that's 8 Eastern. And what time is that Pacific? I'm not sure. So, but yeah, that's going on, and we got good stuff coming out. So y'all be on the lookout.
Outstanding.
Until next time, you know what they say.
We
Anyone, peanut gallery, come on.
Opinions are like everyone's got one. Is
Yeah.
that what this?
Everyone has, yeah.
yeah.
Never pitch into the wind.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say stay weird, but y'all aren't playing. But okay, all
I
right.
just said stay weird.
I'll see y'all.
Hadley doesn't
We'll
listen
see you
to
next
me.
week.
Thanks for
I'm
joining us,
just
everybody.
Bye, everyone.